Gojo is in trouble right now. Mahoraga has adapted to his Infinity and Course Technique Labs Blue. His Course Technique output is decreasing, and on the top of that, Sukuna has pulled out another card, Fusion Beast Agito. Chapter 223 starts right where we left off. Yuji and the gang are looking at Gojo getting sliced. Yuji says Gojo's not finished yet. Even if Mahoraga has adapted to Infinity, they are still on equal footing, and even if Gojo's injured, he can quickly heal himself. Soko interrupts and says Gojo's wounds are taking longer to heal. He is still able to use reverse curse technique beyond firing red, but his output is dropping. Sukuna is also on the same boat with the damage sustained by his brain. Then we see Gojo. He is struck with the thought that he might lose. Gojo hasn't felt like this ever since he fought against Toji Fushiguro. Just as signs of defeat shows, he remembers Toji. This gives him a feeling much more intense, a satisfaction. In the modern era of Jujutsu sorcery, Gojo is hailed as the strongest sorcerer, and there comes loneliness with that absolute strength. The one satisfying him right now is the strongest sorcerer in history, Sukuna. Gojo punches Mahoraga and pushes him back with pure physical strength. In order to restore his decreased output, he resets the incantations to fire Curse Technique Raid. Just as Gojo was ready, Sukuna blocks the view to protect Mahoraga by using Rabbit Escape. Sukuna is still recovering by hiding in the shadows, so Gojo fires Raid to bring him out. Looks like it took really long time to recover from that black flash. Since Mahoraga adapted to Infinity, it's on offensive, and to make sure Mahoraga doesn't get destroyed, Sukuna is on protection duty. He tries to make opening for Mahoraga to attack by throwing a fire extinguisher at Gojo. It hits the wall and CO2 covers the area. By using smoke as a distraction, Sukuna attacks with piercing blood. Simultaneously, Mahoraga strikes Gojo with his blade. That nullifies the Infinity, allowing piercing blood to strike at Gojo. But Satoru was able to block it with his right hand. As Mahoraga strikes again, Gojo dodges it. This means the battle is old good-fashioned 2-on-1. Usually, one should be unable to use Shikigami's powers without summoning them. But Sukuna was able to use Max Elephant to create piercing blood without actually summoning it. So this means he's as good as Gojo at using Curse Technique without even having 6 eyes. But it looks like Sukuna can't use Shrine and 10 Shadows simultaneously. He's using Shikigami other than Mahoraga now since the adaptation to Infinity is complete. Mahoraga still hasn't adapted to Reverse Technique, so Red and Purple are still usable cards on Gojo's side. But we don't really know until how long. Just as Gojo thinks he still has time, Sukuna summons Nue Totality, a fusion beast Agito. This 2-on-1 suddenly turns into 3-on-1 battle. Gojo mocks Sukuna by saying he looks like a lost little boy between two giants. Mahoraga and Agito starts to attack and Sukuna tries to strike with another piercing blood from Gojo's shadow. Satoru quickly strikes at Sukuna but he dodges it. Simultaneously, Mahoraga and Agito attacks Gojo, but he manages to escape and strikes Mahoraga with Red right in the face. However, since his output's on decline, his attack was barely effective. Since Mahoraga will gradually adapt, so Gojo has to take him out at one shot. The technique will take time to charge, but he has unlimited Hollow Technique to settle this fight. Even after 11 chapters of decisive battle between Gojo and Sukuna, they still haven't reached the end. In fact, the more chapter we get, it seems like both of them has a lot more to offer to the table. But after 5 domain class and using RCT to heal their burnout curse technique, both of their brain has sustained enough damage to reduce their curse technique output. Due to this, it's taking longer for them to heal their wounds. Gojo's curse technique are getting weaker, due to which Mahoraga was able to tank his curse technique raid. Even with the strongest sorcerer of history as his opponent, his student thought it's impossible for Gojo to lose. But now the possibility of losing this battle is increasing. Even Gojo himself is starting to doubt whether he will be able to finish the job. Well, I started JJK with its anime adaptation. In episode 2, Gojo was introduced as a strong and cocky guy. I thought he was unstoppable by the way he handled Jogo in episode 7 and Hanami in episode 20. He is the sorcerer who is known throughout the Jujutsu society as the strongest. His innate technique, Limitless and 6 eyes made him absolute pillar who can even go against higher ups. Gojo has Infinity as his defense which makes him untouchable. But in Hidden Inventory arc, Toji breaks that concept. The high and mighty Gojo Satoru dies by the hand of Toji Fushiguro. There we get to know that there is a weapon, Inverted Spear of Heaven, that can nullify Infinity. Then in Shibuya incident arc, we again see Gojo losing for the second time. He got sealed inside prison realm. There again we get to know that there is a technique called domain amplification that can nullify infinity. Just like this, slowly we get to know weaknesses of him and his technique. Gojo is strong, but he can be outsmarted. In fact, both time he lost was due to him being cocky, and his enemy took advantage of that. Being emotional while taking decisions was also one of the major reasons for him to go down like that in Shibuya. His love for his best friend took over, and that moment of hesitation got him sealed, due to which Kenjaku was able to cause all this mess. There was no stopping to actions of higher-ups and Genin clan. They killed Mai and Principal Yaga, and now after so much trouble, Yuji and the gang have finally freed him to kill Sukuna and Kenjaku. They have put all their trust in his shoulder, and now if he again gets emotional and hesitates to kill Megumi, this will result in his death along with every one of his students. So the choice is pretty clear. Ever since the start of the show, it has made clear that Jujutsu sorcerers aren't heroes. It's not about good and bad. Sorcerers just does their work in order to protect people. They don't really know any details or core part of their duty, but it's something they have been doing for a long time. Even Yuji says to Mahito that he will kill him and he doesn't need any reasons for that. Maybe the reason will be clear 100 years later, but for now he is just a cog serving his purpose. Just like this, Gojo has also made up his mind. He has one last technique, Unlimited Hollow, to end this fight. Sukuna is using everything he has to attack Gojo rather than trying to adapt to reverse techniques. So Gojo is trying to use this opportunity to take out Mahoraga with one shot and come out as a victor. Well, what are your opinion on it? Let me know it in the comment section. I'm NJ and see you soon.